Here comes the money. Here comes the money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money.
All right. Welcome to Death, Piles, and Taxes, episode number 1712. You with me?
Might as well be. Can you hear me?
I got you, buddy.
I'm here somewhere. I'm just looking up a few things to touch up on, and welcome into the show. Well, you don't think I do any work around here, so I got to prove myself every now and again as a worthy companion.
Hey, I will tell you, I put on my sunscreen this morning.
Okay, why was that? You went outside or something?
Yeah, but the music, our engineer team put on the last video, talked about things you won't regret putting on sunscreen.
Oh, yes, always wear your sunscreen.
Yeah, it was pretty
good advice.
I'm sure you're downstairs doing a little dancing.
You know what?
Yes.
You know how we do it here.
Well, you know the big question everybody wants to know right now is when is I getting my free money? That's the big question right now.
That's been the big question for the last month or year, hasn't it?
That's
what it feels like.
Yes, and like everything, life changes so fast, especially when it's governmental involved. Going to give you two scenarios. I got an official letter back or an email from your buddy, Mr. John Curtis, who's no longer hiding in the bathroom.
I'm glad he came out and took a breath.
And going back to the past episode, Derek had a good conversation with Congressman John Curtis. Anyways, I replied regarding this EDIL loan. We talked about this last week. This is the alleged $10,000 that small businesses will be able to apply for, and essentially the grant amount will be forgiven.
No. Adam Accounting, Adam speaking. I'm doing a podcast now. Can I call you back in a little bit?
I muted it. So essentially that's what the whole idea was, is it was supposed to be helping small town America. And I know this is going to be hard to believe, but America, they went for the big boys. They are helping bail out the big boys, and us little guys are just kind of on the back burner. What I mean by that is the EDIL loan, they changed it on us. Imagine that. They changed the rules. Can you believe that?
I wonder who did that. Look at the shock and awe on my face.
Yes, the shock and awe. They changed it to where now, in order to get the $10,000, it's $1,000 per employee.
Oh, okay.
Not small town America guys that don't have employees or might have one employee, and people still have not seen that money. So I helped about 60 companies apply for it almost 2 weeks ago now, and no one has seen it yet. But if you're a big boy, you remember we talked about your buddy Down With Me, OPP, the PPP loan?
I'll pretend that I do, just not to have to recap it.
Yeah, I know. It's accounting. You're like, whatever, Adam takes care of it. So what happens is the Payroll Protection Program loan gives you 2.5 or 2.5% of your monthly payroll. So if you're running a pretty good sized payroll, the government will give you money to keep those people employed. And guess who's in charge of that one?
Bill Clinton. I don't know.
Real things.
Greg Ostertag.
U.S. Bank. I forgot. You don't care about accounting. I just do it for you. So they take care of it, but they have already gotten their money, and some of those applications were in for like 3 days. I know of somebody that had $227,000 deposited in their account already.
Well, so this is going to frustrate me. As the little reseller guys, and we're saying, you guys are just as important as everyone else and all that. Then it turns around, nope, Congress and whoever, I'm not going to get too crazy because I could, thinks, no, big businesses and, well, if you're well connected, here's thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you got one employee, here's $1,000, which is better than nothing, sure, but not when you're saying everyone gets this amount, now you get that amount. It just seems like we got our heads up our butts and our thumbs in Arizona.
I will admit I'm quite shocked, and I figured out why. You know, there's always motivation between why things happen. The SBA was in charge of this small guy, $10,000 type thing, and there was really no incentive for them to do it. We've talked about it in the past. If you're going to give somebody more responsibility and they're not getting paid anymore, they're not exactly going to be bending over backwards to make things happen, right?
So the incentive of helping out the country not to collapse wasn't enough for the SBA Association and boosting the economy. That wasn't enough. There was no incentive for them personally, but having the the people be able to feed their families that are affected by this isn't enough for them.
I don't want to get too derailed, but this is the tax portion of the DeathPiles and taxes. We talk about reselling and taxes, big issues right now on this economic stimulus. D-Roy's rubbing the copper all over, making sure the Rona doesn't come back. But yes, Derek, the SBA dropped the ball. I got a letter. I got an email directly from John Curtis's office. He replied to me on the Facebooks. I'll post that response so that people can see that in our page. But the SBA has totally dropped the ball. I guess they're owning it, or not publicly, but I have record of it. So there wasn't really any incentive for them to get it done. In fact, they're searching for employees right now, and of course that's going to be great. Might hire somebody who doesn't know anything about it, which I understand. But you know why the banks are getting this done in 3 days? I'll give you one hit, and I bet you can guess it.
Oh, I'm sure they get some money back off the deal.
Dollar bills, y'all. These banks are going to make tremendous, unbelievable, Uncle Scrooge swimming in pools kind of money. That's why. I've got a client, a friend that I know, their loans is in the millions of dollars. The bank on this one transaction will make $37,000 for one transaction.
And let me make sure I got this right. These are the same banks that we helped bail out not but 10 years ago when they couldn't keep afloat. The government just paid them money to keep them open so they wouldn't fail. And now they can't do a solid without getting paid millions of dollars.
Yes. That's the reason. If you are a big boy, you will get the help. I totally 100%. I know that this is we're not a political show, or we are sometimes, but if you're struggling with this, like a lot of people, I mean, here's the thing. Right now, reselling is crazy. It's hot. If you're not selling online, you're doing something wrong. But you should help with anything else. I'm telling you, write an email to your congressperson, send something to us, send us your frustration. We can pass it along. But bottom line, big boys are getting helped out. Little guys are not. What they are saying is take away this EDIL loan that now is only $1,000. Now what they're going to do is, even if you don't run a payroll and you're doing this, part-time, half-time, full-time, what they'll do is they will take your Schedule C, so what's on your personal tax return if you're a sole proprietor. They'll take 12 months they'll take your profit divided by 12 months times 2.5, and that's what they'll give you in the PPP. So now we're talking, for a lot of people, it's going to be less than $10,000, where before it was more than $10,000.
On that Christmas vacation and where you can put that Christmas tree, Clark.
I distinctly remember.
I think that's how a lot of our people are feeling, man. It's not good. I mean, I was coming in here optimistic and happy, and we're having a good show or whatever, but this just takes the air out of the balloons when it's just these big people throwing around big amount of money to make each other richer, and the people on the bottom are the ones that get left behind, so to speak. So everybody, when you're out voting this November, remember these people. That's all I'll say. Just remember who did this to you when you're voting in November.
Democrats and Republicans.
All of them.
This is what, honestly, I would strongly encourage anyone who's new, who has no background in politics. That's who I want to vote for. So let me do this here, buddy. Let me cheer up the show. Let me bring a little something. Let's hit it with a.
Ooh, oh, I didn't even bring back my due. Oh, Adam's gonna just drink the goodness in front of me. Hey, Adam, have you heard about this Heroes Act? Since we're on this thing here,
The who?
it's let me make sure I have it wrote here. It was let's see, scroll down my show notes that I don't have. Yeah, the Heroes Act. And what it is it's a proposed thing that won't happen because of Congress and everybody. But I don't remember the senator, whoever's proposing it. But basically, all the federal loans for those people who are dubbed heroes, the first responders, your EMTs, fire people, caretakers, all those people that are essential type people right now. It'd be for the 6 months or as long as this pandemic goes. They would not be, or they would be exempt from paying federal taxes or get that put back on their taxes. Proposed law that they're shopping around that I have no faith in after how this show opened. But the Heroes Act. So basically, those people that are risking themselves out on the front line, your nurses, your doctors, all those type of people would basically have whatever they paid in federal taxes forgiven, and the rest of the year just kind of be exempt, or 6 months, something like that. So that's something to look into.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. I don't know. There's so many things. This is crazy. Like the way how fast moving this stuff goes it's unreal. Like it is insane. Like they are just, like I said last week, they are feeding it full of a fire hose coming off of a ginormous hydrant, and no one's holding on, and they expect you to catch a hold of it.
Well, my problem is, and we talked about it last week too, we said who's going to be in charge of this, who's going to figure this out, how they can do this in 3 days. No one knows. Well, we knew that they wouldn't be able to. I just didn't think they'd go through and say, and we're going to screw over the little guys as we go, which I should have saw coming. But yeah, that part just chaps me.
Right now, like the federal government is we're watching Charlie Brown, and it's Lucy. Lucy is the federal government, and you are Charlie Brown. You are just running. You think, oh man, I am going to kick that football so far. Things are going to be great, and you're just running full steam. And right when you get there, Lucy pulls the ball up. You kick it, and you land on your back, and you just look like a fool.
Which I understand the bigger companies and stuff need money bailout too. I'm not saying that they should be exempt. All I'm saying is these little businesses, and so I know we're dealing with reselling and that kind of thing where we need to get back on track, but a lot of your little mom and pop shops coming out of this are going to need all the help they can get. And if it's not there, Main Street gets shut down, in comes in big corporations and blah, blah, blah. Five Guys are the richest people in the world.
Well, there's your doom and gloom of the taxes. I know no one really likes this portion.
It's honesty, though. We need it.
It's just kind of the way it works. So let's pin the doom and gloom. Let's move on. It was free money anyways. Like I said, let's be honest. And whether somebody else gets it and you don't, like you can't base your well-being on what others get. You can't compare it. So get whatever you can, and who cares what the big boys get? You just go out and shock it and crush it.
Well, it's the big boys getting it out of taxpayer money. That's where I have my problem is, yes, we were all going to have to pay it back. Yes, everyone was going to get a share, but that was when, anyways, that's a whole other show about where our tax dollars go and who we fund and who decides all that. But
we're playing a big game of Monopoly right now, and the government is playing with us, and they're the bank also. So, when they're buying property, they're getting a discount price, and you're playing, who cares? It's all just a big game anyways. Go for it and crush it yourself. Take care of you and your kin, and go from there. That's all I can tell you.
And come November, remember all the names of the people that did this to us, and you can look them up and figure it out for yourselves.
It's everyone on the bill.
As far as I'm concerned, Mr. Curtis will have a lot more time to hide in the bathroom if I have any say of it.
That red and blue, it's across the board.
It's yeah. Okay, Adam, I sold in my Nintendo Switch this week. Can I tell you about that? Let's get positive.
Let's hear about that, buddy.
So last week we kind of ended on it, and the Nintendo Switch has been going crazy. I bought my Switch probably a couple of years ago, and it was mainly to play Fortnite with my brother and Colbert, just brother things to do. And it came with a few games, and I just didn't have time. It just kind of sat more over there collecting dust. So with this thing, video games have been going crazy, but especially the Switch for whatever reason. So after the show, I went and pieced out the unit. I think it was last Sunday. So I sold the system itself separately. Then I sold several of the games. Within 2 hours of listing it, sold, ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. I sold the unit itself for about $80 more than I paid for everything total 2 years ago. Then one of the Mario Kart games sold for like $50. I mean, Mario games are going for $40, $50. So I really came out really good on that situation. And I'd remind everyone listening, all of our resellers, if you have any kind of a video game system, but especially Nintendo Switch, if you can live without it for the next couple of months, I would go list that right now because they're selling at sky high prices. You know, if you can find a new one, whatever you pay for it, you could probably make $200 right off the bat. And here in a couple of months, when things get normal, just go buy it back if you really want one. But I was shocked at how fast it sold after I listed it.
You're right on. You've got it. Your finger on the pulse, right? Finger on the pulse right now.
I mean, I probably could have asked a little more and held out a little longer, but I mean, if you can make a quick $80-$100, you know, and what's somebody up in just up the halfway up the state from us too, which kind of surprised me. So,
wow.
I mean, you know, why not? I know a lot of people have their old Nintendo systems or Segas about our age in the basement somewhere in a storage unit.
Ooh.
People are looking for all that kind of stuff right now. It's a good time, and it's one of those few times where the values actually. I know sometimes you have those select rare games or systems or whatever where there's kind of a premium built in, but right now is a time where you can kind of get back some of that money lost. Some of the you know, when you drive the car off the parking lot and all of a sudden it's worth about half of what you just paid for the brand new car. Same goes with you know, video games. We talk cards, all that kind of stuff. The depreciation value on a lot of this is people need it, or they don't need it, but they're just bored and want it. So your board games, your video games, your movies. I've been selling, I mean, DVDs, like Waddy was saying. I've been putting up DVDs. People are just buying that kind of stuff because they're, you know, essentially stuck in house arrest. So now's a great time to capitalize on some of that stuff.
Did you say you're under house arrest again? How's your monitor doing?
We all are, Adam, because that's why we're doing this safe from home thing.
Oh, I didn't know it was any different for you.
What are you implying there?
Yeah, you remember you got in trouble, and it wasn't my fault. It was not tax evasion this time. You know.
Well, what was it?
That mail fraud. I heard you had another run-in with Newman over the post office. I heard you got belligerent, and you know, things got out of hand.
Fake news.
Oh, okay.
You must work for one of them phony tax accounting. Adam Up Accounting is not to be trusted. Fake news.
I heard it on one of those news outlets. So
you got me sour. You got me all sour. I'm not even laughing. I'm not even laughing.
I didn't mean to hit you with the doom and gloom news. So can I just tell you, I think we got in at the right time on this cards. I know this is not a heavy card informational show, but I listened to a good podcast about investing in cards. And, you know, we brought up something a couple weeks ago. We brought up this new series that's going to come out about your favorite 1997-98 Chicago Bulls. Got pushed in. Since we talked about that, value of Scottie Pippen cards and Dennis Rodman, you can't even guess what they've gone up percentage-wise. Can't even guess.
4.2.
400% is what these card values are doing. Just the last, 45 days.
What about Luke Longley and Tony Kukoc?
No, I didn't see a lot of those, but your buddy Steve Kerr's doing okay. Jed Bullich and Craig Hodges.
Steve Kerr went on to have a pretty good little successful career.
He sure has. So getting into these there's so many different ways to make money.
I'm going to start selling Horace Grant goggles, I think.
I bet you got a few. I know you were probably up there to the Delta Center. I do know you got your swag from Mr. Jerry, John, Carl. If you haven't heard, Derek is quite the connoisseur of basketball memorabilia. He is an expert. Pawn Stars is trying to get a hold of him to bring him down there to Vegas so he can start telling them about different items. Unfortunately, because of his house arrest, I mean coronavirus, he's unable to do that right now.
All false information, Adam. You're going to get a AA thumbs down from the Better Business Bureau for all your lies that you've been telling the good folks about the podcast.
Does anyone even use the Better Business Bureau anymore? I thought it's just straight Google reviews and Facebook ads now.
Well, I don't make me get the people on the Facebook to call you a dirty liar.
You got quite the troll section, so I know you could do it. That's the problem.
Well, what was I going to say before all that? With your cards that you're going with. Yeah, unfortunately, I do have a lot of jazz stuff, which, like my buddy last week, we were talking about the Nets were on the wrong side of the equation. So if it was the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan, the three-peat, the double three-peat, considerably a lot more value there. I mean, Jazz do have 2 Hall of Famers of that era that we talk about. 3 if you count Jerry himself, or 4 if you count Hot Rod Hundley. But now we're just getting on Jazz talk. So,
but the thing is no one cares outside of Utah, Idaho, and maybe
South Korea, believe it or not, has a big Utah Jazz fan base. I have learned. True story.
That's because your buddy Chad Lewis baptized them all and made them all into Jazz fans.
I don't know what happened. Something over in South Korea is pretty big in the Jazz world. Go figure.
Because they could relate more with John Stockton, short guy. I mean, not, he's white. Koreans are obviously not,
They're what now? No, wait, what?
They're Asian, so they could, they can relate to more of a short white guy versus a extremely athletic gentleman like Michael Jordan. So that's why they like the Jazz.
I'm going to give you a shovel to dig yourself out of that hole, but they like the athletics.
They thought when Jeff Hornacek was rubbing his face, he was actually waving to them in Korea.
Okay, well, sure. Anyways, Chicago Bulls value is on the up and up because of documentaries being dropped. According to Adam, with Adam Up Accounting, says 400% on a Dennis Rodman card. We do have some things. We do got some things sent into PSA, but we need them to open up business so we can get that back.
Also, I dropped a hint on the Hakeem Olajuwon. Those are also up. I know this is going to be a newer one. Your boy TB12, Mr. Tom Brady, who left the big boys to go to Tampa.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, that's the thing. And right now it is recession time. So who knows if the prices will come back up. Hopefully it doesn't kill cards just because we've invested a lot in that. But it's speculative, right? I mean, it's one of those things that you can go get involved in. I know we've talked about it weeks on end. So I don't want to go way hard on it because, people are tired of hearing about it from us probably. And we have that whole secret episode that I'm going to put out at some point where it's just straight card talk. So.
I also, it's always about trying to improve yourself, do a couple things. I did, like one of our buddies, we got on and jumped on the Robinhood, trying to learn more about making some passive income. Started playing around, trying to understand the stock market, because, again, it's just like reselling. Like you're just trying to buy low and sell high. That's the name of the game, right?
It's definitely at a low point right now in the market. So it's yeah, I don't know. This is the glass half empty show for Derek all of a sudden. I don't know why, but yeah, no, that's the goal. Obviously, we've been talking stocks for a while. No, I mean not heavily, but yeah, get out there, invest.
Hey, can I tell you a winner that I found?
Oh yeah, who you got?
MGM Grand Resorts. Apparently, a couple of weeks ago, I read a couple things because, again, the big boys get the bailout money. I says, hey, let's give it a shot. I went in and found some stocks. They cost me like $8 a piece, and now they're up 75% in a matter of 2.5 weeks.
No, that's not bad. If you can, I guess that's one way to look at it. See who's going to get bailed out and hurry up and invest in them, and then hopefully you make some money in the long haul. Yeah,
just like saying again, just kind of trying to educate myself. I know I told you I threw down some different cruise things. Your buddies at Norwegian and Royal Caribbean throwing some down stuff. Just trying to learn more about what actually goes on outside of my little world and my little office. You know what I mean?
I hear you there, and as we're saying, this is just what we're doing. We're definitely not giving you stock tips or advice. I don't think we're licensed to do that. This is just us, a couple guys talking about what we're doing personally. so Adam doesn't end up in jail with one of those ankle monitors that he likes to say I have, but I've had to saw him off his leg more than one time with the hacksaw that we hid around back, where I'm not going to say exactly because then the federales will come and confiscate it. However, look into the IGT, which makes slot machines, which is currently down to about $6 a share now. But if you go back just a couple of years, they were up in the higher 20s. That's my fun fact for the day. I was going to say hot tip, but I can't give out stock tips because that would not be legal.
Oh yes, that would not be legal, allegedly.
So if you're looking for somebody that's going to make a bounce back once the casinos open again, and they're big international, Italy, all that, I'm thinking the about $6.50 a share right now, and I'm thinking that could bounce back pretty nicely for some of you guys out there on the Robinhood. So look at it, look at it, and let me know what you think.
People are stir crazy. They want to get out. They want to roll the dice again in Vegas. They got to get out. So this is not going to last forever. Things are still, looking on the up and up. So, don't get discouraged.
Ever onward.
I think he needs a good fix. Like he's waiting to go out and find some stuff at the thrift store at a yardie. That's what he's missing, right?
I mean, that's what I think people are just getting tired of trying to get out there. If you are looking to source, though, go on eBay itself. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. Also, a quarterly coupon came out, so go get your supplies. This is your quarterly reminder from me. I ordered some stickers and some thank you cards this morning. I've also been going a little stir crazy, I think. I took my wife, wanted to go out for a ride today, so we went for a little bit of a ride. I did a few lives for the people, and we had a good time.
You were looking for new places for your cat sanctuary, is that right?
No, elephant refuge.
Oh, you never know with what you're really doing.
Save the elephants.
Yeah.
Cats are so last week.
Oh, sorry, I don't know.
Which I've put together a special episode of the Husky section. We'll be dropping this week where we talk all Tiger King.
All Tiger King, huh? Well, you know what?
Even Adam participates.
I don't even know who your buddy talking about. I did watch Tiger Woods win the 1997 Masters. That was really cool.
Oh, that's relevant.
Well, I know. There's only redos on sports right now, so
that year is that the Tiger you're backing?
That is the Tiger I'm backing.
Hey, did you watch? So we were watching sports this week, and I was able to get a bunch of the friends. I know you were excluded from the text because you'd been banished for a little bit, but the Muhammad Ali fights, were you able to capitalize on any of those we were watching?
No, I know you said something about it, and I totally missed out on it, but I went back and read a few things. So that really gets back into this. What do you like? What do you want to find? I mean, I'm sure there's some cool Muhammad Ali stuff that you could get in and find and resell.
I'd seen Muhammad Ali and I knew some of the stories, but we were sitting there and they were showing the fights, and so me and Holly and I put some text out there, and Pelican got in there, and Painter, I think we're all watching it. We were all chatting as if it was a live event going. But I understand why that man was called the greatest. He puts on a show. So and he was a champion. But anyways, yeah, I'd love some Muhammad Ali items, paraphernalia. Maybe I'll get over with Phil. I didn't even go see Phil this week.
Wow.
I feel kind of bad about that, but. Maybe I could get me a Muhammad Ali memorabilia of some nature, something signed. I'm a fan. I was sold on Mr. Clay.
Well, what else did you what else did you do this week? What other interesting tidbits can you share with the audience of how D-Roy lives his day to day? I mean, I think this is what they go into that old show that remember Robin Leach. Let's go pull the curtain back on lifestyles of the rich and famous. Derek, what?
Unfortunately, I think we're all in this kind of thing where we don't do much and we come home and do less. I put in the hours again last week, and I came home last night exhausted, and my wife put on a movie, and before I knew it was she woke me up to go to bed, and I just stayed on the couch and woke up this morning at 6 o'clock on the couch. So that's the exciting life I was leading. But I do have a story. I do have a derailment that has nothing to do with reselling, and I feel like this podcast might just be part of the Corona quarantine where we're just like just trying to talk to people. It's not been a whole lot about reselling because, I mean, there's stuff selling. It's the same stuff we say every week, like get your stuff listed. But, yeah, we don't really have those fines or we were out getting this, that. We're stuck inside.
You got a list. Let's hit the derailment after the break here. But if you're not listing, you ain't selling. Like, you got a list. You have to list.
I mean, I'll break down the whole heart transplant guy list at some point. It's not finished yet, so I don't want to seal the book, so to speak. I do have that story coming up, but I've had to edit that story out of the podcast enough times because of things happening that I don't want to have to do it again this week, to be 100% honest with you.
I don't know what Derek's doing with this poor guy.
I've made a lifelong friend, and at one point thought he had passed away. At another point, I thought his wife was going to banish me from ever seeing them again. To now, where I'm welcomed in almost open arms. So it'll be a little teaser at some point. I'll tell that whole story. I just need to wait for the whole story to be to a point where I can tell the whole story. So, keep listening.
Let's hit a break real fast, hear from our good sponsors, and come back on the other side.
Ka-ching, ka-ching.
Well, it's taxes of DeathPiles and taxes. It is that time of year. We're going to have to do something. Uncle Sam wants his money.
Who doesn't want their money?
Well, he's got a lot of it, but we all got to put it in the system. That's the country we live in. So, need to file your taxes. Got questions? You want to know more because you're a reseller? It is a little more difficult than it is, especially if it's your first year. You're getting into it. You're going to get these 1099Ks. You can get information that you don't know what to do with, and we don't want you to pay any more than you have to. So reach out to us here at Adam Up Accounting. You can go to our website. You can check us out on social media. We'd love to help you out. Like I said, we know the resale game. We're here to make sure that you pay your fair share, but don't go back to jail.
They're not going to be back in jail again.
We're not going to let that happen. Derek was there once, and we're not letting him let that hit him again.
If you're not on Visible Mobile, what are you doing with your life? You just must like to waste money. Visible Mobile, Adam. What is it? I'm here to tell you. It's a new phone service running on your Verizon network. You can pay as little as $25 now. They've got this new thing that's called a party plan.
The party line.
It's like a family plan, except for you don't have to go around and collect all the money from everyone. Everyone pays their own bill.
I don't have to Venmo my cousin.
You don't have to Venmo your cousin Eddie. You don't have to go down that trailer park and try to wake up Granny and tell her, get out of your wagon and give me your money.
So you're saying I need to get on Visible Mobile to start saving money every single month.
All in, $40 a month, down to $25 depending on how your party plan goes. You get unlimited everything. You get the best coverage there is available. You have a mobile hotspot included. Of course, when you go there, you're going to use our promo code. Adam, do you remember our promo code?
Not yet.
Well, I'm going to tell you what it is. BVWVQ. And let me say that for you phonetically. That's Bravo, Victor, Whiskey, Victor, Quebec.
Go to Visible Mobile.
15-20. What you have extra dollars in your pocket, D-Roy?
Yeah. It's my walking around cash, or as I call it, change.
I know it is it's your chump change. So I just want to say, like I said, that's what everybody's getting into, this new Zoom culture. I guess face looking at each other because we can't be see each other. You got a pretty nice New York Yankee plaque there hanging up in the back, buddy.
Yeah, that's from New York City. The home of the New York Yankees. I bought off a guy in Battery Park for, I don't remember what. It was a bartered and bought thing.
Bartered and bought, and then you got a gold record behind you. What do you got behind you there, buddy?
Oh yeah, that's my George Jones Super Hits gold record, and it's up there too.
White Lightning.
George Jones. Oh man, this gets me in my derailment. There.
You ready to get there already? I mean, let's.
Well, no, I'm just when you say that, everyone says King George and they mean George Strait, but my King George would be George Jones. How about that?
I guess that's good. I'm
Controversial take right there. Nothing against George Strait, but yeah,
a big
I'm
fan.
a George Jones man.
George Herman Ruth.
You know who? So it's kind of a weird story because when I grew up, yeah, George Herman Ruth is great. But I grew up, I wasn't a big country music fan at all. And then once I started working at the Subway restaurants with our buddy Mike Painter, he was way into country music at the time. And this is like late 90s, so this was like early 90s country / where we were at. And
Which they literally shut it down. They put up signs saying that we're out of bread, going back in the derailment.
you can go back and listen to the archives. There's some good stories. Maybe we'll do a Husky section, just straight Subway talk.
Anyway, the UCAT.
But anyway, so I was into more of like the rock music, the kind of the heavier rock and roll metal kind of stuff at the time. And then at some point we swapped. So now I listen to a lot of the old country. And if I listen to music and stuff podcasts, it's usually old country, which will come into part of my derailment. Whereas I think he's still into he's lifting weights and stuff and listening to the Five Finger Death Punch type stuff. So fun fact for 3 people out there who enjoy the Husky section, that would be me, you, and Mr. Painter.
And the way I'm going, I'm getting my Corona 15. I put on the pounds. Once this thing ends, or once I'm able to get out of my office a little bit more, I got to lose some weight.
You get back on that Grandpa Joe cabbage eating, bird flu eating, rat soup drinking diet.
I'm gonna document it, man. I'm telling you, there's something in that cabbage that keeps you thin and trim, and it's gonna happen again.
Hey, here's something I did see trended on eBay. Since we haven't been real eBay heavy, just because of everything that's going on, we've just been talking. Actually, exercise equipment, people are buying like dumbbells, like 20-pound dumbbells, and put them in the flat rate boxes, and they're selling for a good amount because people are just kind of trapped in their homes or apartments and trying to work out a little bit. So if you have any old, exercise type equipment, weights, that kind of stuff, kettlebells, you can utilize your flat rate. Man, I can't even talk, which is nothing new. Flat rate envelopes, if it fits, it ships. So you can put a 50-pound dumbbell in some of those things and tape it up real good and say sorry to the postman. But
I'll tell you what, there are some interesting, smart people out there. I just saw a video of this, a flat rate box. They're large boxes, but they're straight and flat. There aren't a lot of room in there. This girl totally Frankenboxed it. She took that box, made a couple cuts, and she was able to put a box, like a shoe box, in that box and just tape it up, and it was amazing.
Yeah, you gotta be kind of careful. Sometimes your post office might be a little picky, so you gotta know who's taking it at the post office. But if they are a little picky, go to another post office or make friends. And if not, once it's in the system, it's in the system. So if it fits, it ships.
Yeah.
But yeah, be creative. If you have old jump ropes, if you have, I know you're a big Buns of Steel guy. So if you have your old Buns of Steel DVDs, I know you probably got them digitally downloaded now. You can sell those.
I got some posters.
Richard Simmons, Dancing to the Oldies. Oh yeah, your shake weights. You don't even. Your forearms are pretty strong now, so you probably could pass those on to somebody else.
My ab wheel.
Anything that was on late night infomercials that Adam was watching, not USA Up All Night as we've learned, but whatever you watched it late at night. I don't remember that whole story, but
hey, I'm going to throw a plug in there. If you want to get real fit, the Kathy Smith, she's one of my clients. I do her stuff. She's, I believe, she says it all the time. She's like 69, and she is still doing amazing things. I mean, she really doesn't look a day over 39, and she is doing some amazing things. She always has exercised. I've seen a couple of her things on the Beachbody workout. So, hey, you know what? Unless you're out there trying, I mean, you're just going to be a part of the Husky section, which isn't a bad thing. Let's be honest. I mean, fun bunch of guys.
Shout out to Kathy Smith.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, get solid. I mean, if you got, get creative. Think of what people, I know we've said the board games and video games, which again, I'll reiterate. If you have a Nintendo Switch or your neighbors have a Nintendo Switch, it's worth telling them that you owe them one. Go steal that bad boy right off their TV and put it for sale, or your own. More likely to your own, but they faster than white lightning will it sell, and for a good sum.
I did pull up the kids were getting a little stir crazy. I went down to the basement. I pulled up the old PlayStation 2 this week.
Yeah. And I'm
Pulled up
sure if
there.
somebody was selling certain games and stuff, you'd have been buying them.
They would have. The hard part is I needed another remote. That's why I hit you up saying, "Hey, you got a remote laying around?" And of course you didn't. You probably already sold it. But one of my remotes was broken, so only one kid at a time can play, which works. They got to take their turns. But
Take turns. You got the Madden. You got them playing the NCAA football. What you got playing?
I do have it. No, they're playing it's an Olympic game. They're learning how to do curling and skiing and that kind of thing. I still haven't even sat down to play the old what was it, the 2006 or 2007 Madden, where someone we know set up every single high school Utah team in the state.
So we know customized it to be. Hey, if you're out looking, so here's a hot tip too that I think a lot of people know, but there's the last year that the NCAA game was made, has a guy from Michigan on the cover. I can't remember the year right off the top of my head. If you can find that thing sells for $40 right now. It's going for about $80 because people just want it and they're stuck inside. Also, the basketball NCAA the last year it was produced had Blake Griffin on it, I believe, Oklahoma. If you can find those, because they had a big, you remember the big lawsuit where they'd have to pay out all the players and stuff. Yeah, they just decided that they weren't going to make it anymore because they didn't want to pay the money. Big fight with EA Sports and all. Anyways, they're talking about bringing it back this year, but how this year's going, I wouldn't put money on it. If you can find that last year or even the last couple of years those were produced as far as sports games go, whether you're at your local Goodwill type places or you're looking on Facebook, snag those because they go for big bucks. I'm going to try to look it up and get your year while I'm doing this, which probably isn't going to be the best idea. But, yeah. Any thoughts, Adam, while I look that up for 1 second here? Oh, it's 14. 14. So NC football 14 or even the 13 goes for an okay amount, but 14 goes for, I'm going to look at prices just right now. I mean, there's somebody asking for $120. That was just bringing it up right this very second. That's a new one, but which,
I tell you what you can do is, like I said, I'm sure there's a couple. Just do your spring cleaning, but instead of just putting it in a pile, like take some pictures, throw it up, and see what happens. Put it out in a box in the garage or down in the basement, and you got yourself a little stockpile of things, and see what happens. I mean, what is it out? I mean, you're not out anything.
Yeah, it looks like the basketball is it's going for a pretty good amount too, and the 09 is probably going up to 13 as well. So just go through your kid. I mean, a lot of kids move off to college or they leave home or whatever, and they put all this stuff just in a tote or whatever. You might have this just sitting there. You might have just a few $100 bills and video games just sitting around that give them listed, get them sold, especially right now when people are bored at home and looking for them.
That's a true story. Well, I mean, that hits us pretty hard on the taxes. That gives us some eBay stuff. I think you're going to derail us, buddy. I mean, this is weird for me. I'm not a big social distance kind of guy. Like, I like our interactions. You get to see a couple different things. So this is kind of it's new for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's definitely different. I think the feel of the show is probably a little different, but stick with us, people. We'll get back to normal, and we're trying to give you the information we can with what we have, but without going around and sourcing a whole lot. It's just how it is, right? So,
normal. Normal.
Well, the new normal. So, right now, there's bids actually on eBay. I just brought it up. There's one for the Xbox of the NC 14 football games up to $107 for a used one, and the PlayStation 3, there's one at $72. So, I mean, don't sleep on it. Well, let me get derailed. I got a story here that will paint me in not a great light, but I need to tell it, I think, as you chug your dew. You ready? You ready for this?
All right. Hit me with your best shot.
Okay, now I have to tell the full story and able to get the whole story out. Well, so as everyone knows, I'm essential. I'm an essential employee, as dubbed by the whoever picks that kind of stuff. The big corporations getting the bill out. Did a vote and said Derek can work. And so at work, been talking, we're doing a lot of overtime. We're doing as much time as we can. It's busy, go. with that being said, we have some new employees that we're bringing in and that we're trying to train, and I'm trying to do my work, but also train other people and help out with that. New guy comes in, and he always has his music going, and he's playing some of this poppy music, and he's playing some, dance type music or whatever, which isn't really my thing, but I don't care. Just do your thing. As long as you're producing and doing work, that's all that really matters. And so he comes in a couple days ago, and he's telling me about, now this all leads to where it's going, so bear with me, folks. He's telling me how he can't see his kids right now because his ex-wife, is not letting him come over because he's quarantined, and they're just trying to, keep them safe so that they don't infect the parents or get around all this and that. And I'm like, that's probably a good thing. And he's a little upset about it. And I said, well, if it's for the best health of your kids, you can't be that resentful. But he's thinking his ex-wife's out to get him and playing all these mind games and asking me all this stuff about what I think about, this, that. And I don't know either of you really, and I don't really know the whole situation, nor do I have time to do it, nor am I a divorce lawyer and anything like that, and a relationship coach. So I said, just keep your head up and, just keep working. You'll see him soon enough. And you're making some extra money right now, which is always good. And this is the same guy that offered to get me a hamburger and left it sitting out and that kind of thing. So we have a little bit of history going, but he's a nice kid. And by kid, I mean early 20s. And so I kind of doing my stuff, and he asked me what kind of music I like. And I said, well, you're not going to like it. I usually listen to podcasts, but I said, I really enjoy, I really like Johnny Cash, for example. And he doesn't know who Johnny Cash is, which is fine. So I said, well, Man in Black, man, you listen to him, it'll change your life. He'll, if you like, because he tells me you like stories and songs and stuff. And this song says this and that. I said, if you like stories and songs, you like Johnny Cash. So next day or so comes around, and he says, I'm going to make myself seem really bad right here, Adam. But this is all a true story for our people, the derailment. He said, I took your advice, and I listened to some Johnny Cash, and, I didn't really like him. I said, well, yeah, not for everybody, I guess, but yeah, give him some try. He might grow on you or whatever. And he said, okay. And so I think it was later that day before we were going home, he says to me, and this is in front of a group of people, he said, I've tried listening to Johnny Cash. I just prefer listening to NSYNC or the Backstreet Boys instead of Johnny Cash. I just think they're better than Johnny Cash. So I looked at him and overworked and no excuse, but I meant every word of it, and I still do to this very moment. I said, well, no wonder your wife and kids left you. I understand now. If you prefer NSYNC and Johnny over Johnny Cash, if you prefer NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys over Johnny Cash, I totally understand why your wife left you and took the kids. Wow. The room got a little awkward and silent. I got some glares. I stick by it. I stand by that. So next day I might have had a visit from a plant manager seeing if I was doing okay and things, and I am. I thought that one might be an HR visit, but turns out it wasn't.
Wow, that's always good, man. That's always anytime you get the HR visit, you're in trouble.
And I avoided that, so I think it was one of those things where certain people were laughing and certain people were glaring, but if you like NSYNC and Backstreet Boy, that's your prerogative. I'm whatever, but I could have said a lot of other things. I just said, well, now I understand why your wife left you and took the kids.
Well, my workplace has been pretty mellow. Like I said, there's only a couple of us here, and things are good, interesting. I mean, like you said, I guess it is kind of our new normal. Nobody's traveling. Any trips that were planned are completely canceled, severely delayed. I know you were planning another trip down to Vegas, which is not happening. I don't know. It's just an interesting time right now.
Nothing's happening. Can you talk about any of your workplace stuff, or is that off limits?
I don't know. There was some things that happened. An alleged corona outbreak that was only alleged, so it kind of created a stir. But I don't know. It got
exciting for a minute.
What's that?
It got exciting for a minute.
Yes, it did get exciting. Some things kind of blew over. we've got there's a couple other people here in the building besides our business. And I don't know, people are just interesting creatures. Can I just say that?
I mean, people need to take advantage. This is the only time that you can dress up like you're an old West bandit that was going to rob a train and go in places and not get arrested. So take advantage of your situation. Think of the positive.
Derek is sporting the face mask anywhere he goes. Not face mask, the bandana. I forgot the word for it. The bandana.
I've really been enjoying that. I went into the post office today with that, my hat and sunglasses on, and I think they thought things were going to get real fast. I just dropped off my packages and left. But, yeah, it's always nice to just, because you can, sometimes you have to, right?
It's true. It's a true story. So, like I said, it's close. This will be our episode after the 15th. So 15th was the deadline. Now it's not. Now it's July 15th. So it's like that old show. That was one of the good shows that were on TV prior to the internet that really hit big, was that show with Drew Carey, whose line is it anyways. He give people points, and he says, well, the points don't really matter. It just, nothing really matters when it comes to taxes anymore. All this fake money that's given out to everybody, it doesn't,
That's where I'd say to people, go find your old Easter candy, but really probably don't this year. I did sell a couple bags of some Swedish fish jelly beans for $20 a bag this week. I've been selling M&Ms crazy, but I can't encourage people to go buy it because you should be sheltered and being safe.
I was going to ask you about that. You did, like I said, I know you sold some jelly beans. I will, so it is Easter weekend. I'm going to share a story, one of those nostalgia type things. My grandparents, like I said, when I lived down in Nevada, we'd come up, we'd always come up and, stay some times with them. And for some reason, we were always up around Easter. We'd come up and spend some time with them. That was like the day before Easter was always really good because you could stay up late, and we would always watch the 10 Commandments.
I knew you would say that.
Of course.
I knew you were going to say you stayed up late and watched the 10 Commandments.
I mean, it was on ABC, Charleston Heston. I mean, that's just, he's got that beard. He's Moses. I mean.
Because what 10-year-old doesn't just think that's the greatest?
Are you serious? Did you not enjoy that show?
I like girls. I don't know.
Oh, dude, this is pre-internet. You never got to see those kind of shows. Oh, man.
It was like a 5-hour marathon show of church.
It wasn't even, it was like a real story, man. It's the Pharaoh. I mean, I guess that was kind of my Star Wars. I know you were big into that kind of stuff. I just didn't, that didn't resonate with me. And I guess I
was big into Star Wars. I was big into wrestling.
Well, okay. I was
probably watching Hulk Hogan take out the Ultimate Warrior while you were watching Charleston Heston. I know which one's going to do better for me in the long run. I'm not saying that wasn't the right choice. I'm just saying, no, that wasn't my, that was my thing.
I'm a big documentary guy, and it was a documentary, for those.
It was a documentary.
Yeah, the 10 Commandments is a documentary, man.
You give me crap about this Joe Exotic Tiger King, which is a straight-up documentary filming a guy in person going through this, and you're telling me Chuck Heston playing Moses is a documentary.
Well, I get like a reenactment of, it's a non-fictional story.
It's a reenactment. I'll give you that.
Reenactment. I don't know. It's one of those things. It's a biography. It's not an autobiography. It's a biography about the book.
We're definitely living the plague right now, so it's timely.
The locust, the savage. Maybe this is our 40-day we're out in the desert just wandering right now.
I feel like it.
that beard.
We need to be eating the man. Yeah, I'm trying to get the Moses beard going.
It's quite sporting quite well. Maybe that's what's
pretty good.
I
was supposed to do in the Husky section. I was supposed to give beard tips to Painter. We talked about doing it, and I totally forgot about it. So next round of Husky sections, remind me. I'm going to tell everyone and Painter how to grow a beard like this.
This is going to air past Easter, but do yourself a favor and throw down just some short time of the 10 Commandments. You will always be. I watched some of the Wizard of Oz last night too. Those classic shows, man, they're good. It just shows you how far we've come in cinema.
Did you ever watch The Wizard of Oz with The Dark Side of the Moon playing in sync with it?
No, never seen it.
Okay. If you're bored and sitting at home and you got a copy of The Dark Side of the Moon and you got a copy of The Wizard of Oz, if you start the record or CD, you have to have it on repeat. On the third lion's roar of the MGM, it goes in sync with the movie. It's great. It's something we did a lot as high school age kids, and I'll just leave it at that.
Wow, that is some knowledge that I did not expect today on the DeathPiles and Taxes, your podcast about eBay, about taxes, and about anything in between.
It's a lot in between right now, folks. We appreciate you listening. We do love and we're just grateful for every listener that we have.
We're all itching. We got to get out there. We're all both getting stir crazy. I want to go out and go thrifting again. I know that there's going to be some golden pots in there because people are going to just clean up. They're going to start throwing.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be slow to fully re-engage, but if you're willing to get out there, go source, you're going to find some good stuff, right?
There's going to be a lot of good stuff. There's going to be yard sales of good things that people cleaned out. I've seen some of the videos from like Savers and Goodwills that the donation centers are just overfull right now because they can't have people process, but just so much good stuff is going to be there that if you can brace the storm and weather it once that opens up, I think you'll be handsomely rewarded. And I think it's going to be priced to move because there's going to be surplus of things to go.
Good idea, man. So hopefully get that stimulus money this week. The Johnny Lingo store will take your funds at any point. The Double Llama Comma, I got to take it off. Honestly, I was getting too busy. There was some requests came in. I got the store on vacation mode until next week just because of my other work commitments, and I was just spending a lot of time doing it. Like I said, when shipping becomes a problem, you're doing it right.
A lot of people are having that same issue right now of it's busier than I think a lot of people thought it would be. People are home on the internet, and I know we talked about it the last couple of weeks, but Amazon has pushed out times so far that still in eBay you still have the advantage, the upper hand. I'm selling raw cards, I'm selling video games, I'm selling everything. I mean, you might be thinking, well, I don't have the weight set or I don't have the Nintendo Switch. Put up what you do have and just watch that money come on in.
Roll it. So
also internationally, don't forget to put your items in to where they can be bought internationally. I sold a bag of M&Ms like we were talking about. This was one of the limited edition from a couple of years ago. I think it was $50, $40, something like that. Somebody in England bought it. So.
That's just crazy. So, well, with that being said, Derek, there are two things in this life that are for certain, and they are
DeathPiles and
taxes.
A while back, I just needed to get away, and I got in my car one day and just started heading south. I didn't even know where I was going. I just stopped, picked up an atlas so I wouldn't get lost, but I didn't go back to my hometown, and but I went in that direction and through a lot of old areas that I'd traveled through, I guess in search of something, in search of a simpler time in my life or whatever. But I went through a lot of small towns that reminded me of where I was raised and places I'd come from, and it was sad because I realized how much they'd changed since I'd been back in those areas, and a lot of places were sad because a lot of them seemed dried up. You know, it was like a lot of the small town businesses and the mom and pop stores and the independence of some of the people who had actually built those towns because of that. They were having trouble staying alive, staying in business because of all the big chains coming in and everything that takes over these days. And I think it's a very colorful and important part of American history, and I hate to see it going away, and I hope it doesn't. And I just wanted to write this song about it, and we made this video in an attempt to recapture some of those scenes and feelings that inspired the song about the little man.